In our first story, the opposition NDC is demanding the immediate dissolution of the boards of directors of the Millennium Development Authority and Electricity Company of Ghana. The party also wants a forensic audit of the accounts of the power distribution services, whose concession agreement government announced in a letter dated October 18, 2019, it is seeking to terminate. Government in the letter also suggests the use of a restrictive tendering process to select a new private company to take over ECG after the exit of PDS. The NDC, however, says government cannot be trusted to supervise the process. Joining us is Joseph Akable has more from a news conference addressed by the party's General Secretary John Singh.
The opposition NDC says the government cannot be trusted to select a new private company to take over the management of ECG. The party maintains key government actors are complicit in the failure to ensure that PDS met all the requirements prior to the takeover of ECG.
A government that cannot be trusted to do things properly under international competitive bidding. Even in international competitive bidding, they found a way of messing the procurement up. And now you are allowing them that you go and select your own companies and come and do restrictive bidding 3 months and then take the thing away. You understand? And we are aware that you are already meeting and shopping for prospective companies who will secure your interest. So the agenda remains the same. The agenda to appropriate the assets, 22 billion assets of ECG for a personal cabal is still on.
NDC General Secretary Johnson Ketia also wants the prosecution of persons who failed to do due diligence to avoid a scandal.
We demand an immediate forensic audit of the accounts of PDS by an internationally reputable audit firm. And I'm saying internationally reputable audit firm. We are not referring to the MPP type of forensic audit, where they put their party members, some of them living outside, to form shell companies and give them audit assignment and pay them free money. That is not what we are looking for. We are looking for proper and internationally reputable audit firm.
The Millennium Challenge Corporation is yet to formally respond to government decision communicating a decision to terminate the agreement.
Right, so yes, the Millennium Challenge Corporation is yet to formally respond to government's letter seeking to terminate the agreement with PDS. But joining us is learning that the US MCC has already stated its opposition to plans by government to terminate the concession agreement with the electricity distributor PDS. An October 18, 2019 letter from MCC to the government of Ghana, cited by Joy News, is also directing government to satisfy a number of conditions before the end of this month or risk jeopardizing the entire power compact, along with all that comes with it. Evans Mensu joins me in the studio with details of the letter. Hello, Evans. So first of all, let's get this straight. This letter is dated October 18, which is the same date that the finance minister issued that letter.
True. We don't know which one came first, but if you read the finance minister's letter, it appears it was in response to this particular letter.
Right.
Because there's a part of the finance minister letter where he references a meeting that the president had with the MCC boss in Washington, post which a formal communication of the agreements were communicated to our side. The finance minister in his letter says, in essence, that the communication didn't seem to reflect what they believe had been agreed, because they were clear that the other meeting the president had was categorical, that our position is to terminate. And then so that appears to be a response to this particular letter that we now have intercepted.
All right, so now this letter states a number of things.
Yes.
One of them being the fact that they essentially made it clear that they are actually opposed to any such termination of the agreement with PDS.
They are in favor of a reinstatement of the PDS concession in clear terms. In fact, what they expect of us is tied to benefits that we'll either get or will be denied, depending on what we choose to do. First thing they expect us to do, and they are clear in the statement that the government, and this in essence letter was spelling out the Americans' understanding of what was agreed at those meetings. And the meetings they themselves cite were held on the 22nd and 24th of September and 15th and 18th of October, all in DC. So they expect that the government, and this is the action item, so after a meeting you have to bullet it. Action items, the government agrees, and I'm quoting, government agrees to complete the following actions by the applicable date specified below, and upon receiving evidence satisfactory to it, the MCC agrees to take the stipulated corresponding action. So don't just do it, show us evidence. First, formally announce the reinstatement of the PDS concession, formally. And you must do this by 30th October. Second, lift the suspension of the lease assignment agreement, leave the suspension of that, the bulk supply agreement, and the government support agreements. Lift the suspension on all those three immediately. And third, cause the Energy Commission to lift the suspension of the PDS retail supply alliances. That was also suspended in the wake of all that. All this must be done on or by the 30th of October.
All right. Now, does this letter also give government options? Should it want to actually revise whatever agreement it has with PDS?
Yes. In fact, this particular letter maintains, it also agrees for government to restructure the PDS arrangement.
It essentially
keep the current shareholders, but you can bring others on.
Okay.
What they are opposed to is completely doing away
with PDS. Essentially, it acknowledged the fact that there are challenges with the current arrangement with PDS. And
restructure it. In fact, and this is the first time we're getting to know what the Americans are in favor of in terms of restructuring. In fact, they want government to facilitate equity participation of potential Ghanaian institutional investors. Okay, so government should do that, facilitate the process of bringing other people in. And the other people they don't have any problems dealing with includes the Ghana Infrastructure Investment Fund. They also SNIT and Ghana Pension Funds. In fact, long term, the Americans say we can also choose to do an IPO, float it, so all of us can buy stake in this long term. So that's the restructuring they expect us to do. But they insist quite categorically, while honoring the rights of the existing shareholders, the local ownership requirements, and the transfer restrictions of the GSA. So you can do the restructuring you want, but respect the rights of the guys already in the game. If you don't do this, two things will happen. Remember, we are expecting still $190 million as part of the last tranche of the Compact 2. If you don't do this, you aren't getting it. If we do it and it's corresponding, if you do it by 30th, you get $192 million. And secondly, there is a Compact 3, which is a regional compact, that in fact, government have already begun negotiations with the Americans on including us. I just read an article on the MCC website where the vice president had led a delegation to have talks, include us. They tell us, the Americans say to us in this letter, that if you do not formally reinstate and announce and show evidence and lift the suspensions, that one too, we might not get.
All right, thank you very much, Evan Spencer, bringing us the details of that letter from the MCC, stating that they want government, or they're stating the opposition to government's plan to terminate the agreement, the PDS agreement. We are watching Journeys Prime. We're taking a break, but still in the bulletin. Traditional authorities, as in Sakina and adjoining communities, have joined calls for government to fix the main road running through the area. They say is bringing untold hardship to residents there. Traditional authorities at Sakina and adjoining communities have threatened to boycott next year's presidential and parliamentary elections if government fails to permanently fix the road network in the area. They have also threatened an unannounced demonstration in 2 weeks if they don't see signs of work on the road. The road, according to the people, has caused miscarriages and respiratory infections among locals due to successive government failure to at least put bitumen on the road. Addressing a news conference on a portion of the stretch, they also called on government to free some of their kinsmen arrested during a previous demonstration. Latif Idris has more on the following report.
Angry faces, red headbands, red t-shirts. This is the format the people of Mainhian, Sakina, Joman and adjoining communities have adopted to send a message to government that they are unhappy about the state of the road, which has taken years of demonstration, but so far nothing has been done. Today, the traditional authorities of the various gates here have come together to form a coalition to send a direct message to government.
We do not want to see grader reconditioning the road again. We need third road to ensure this plight is ended. We assure you, Mr. President, that if the work do not start on this road in 2 weeks' time from now, I repeat, in 2 weeks now from now, we shall no longer have any other option than to embark on full demonstration.
Last 2 weeks time here, because of Benin, one black book, a Gokrani, the project, Black Mapokemba, Sakina Biana Podache, a deck of 1 hour 45 minutes.
What he's saying is that he lost a brother due to the bad nature of the road. His brother was being transferred to the Amasaman government hospital. Yes. Because of the bad nature of the road. That is 2 weeks ago.
2 weeks ago.
He died even before reaching the hospital. That is one of the major concerns of the people here.
Because of the road, then we were wet on it. Road, then we had 2 months too. Because of road, they must have it. It will get me coming by frack. Ever feel road down. Or do man second and my farmer. Because the road, they won't come and fight.
So what she's saying is that she also lost a couple of pregnancies on this road. She's lost a couple of pregnancies on this road, and the husband is ready to divorce you?
Yes, of course.
So you talk about the fact that you've lost 2 pregnancies.
Serious.
And you are pregnant again?
Yes, and I'm afraid to lose it again. Why? And I am too about most of them about a campaign. Now you're the training of what to about no dada and me for a sebe. Aden. And I'm
the chiefs who come together to form this coalition have presented their petition to the municipal chief executive, Clement Wilkinson, here at the West Municipal Assembly.
The contractor came, and I have to go there with him. We went there, and they said they have given us 2 weeks to do something on the road. And I told them then I will introduce that contractor to them before the 2 weeks.
The introduction you are going to undertake, what exactly will be the essence of introducing a contractor to the people?
And I'm sure that day the contractor will tell them something.
When you've not awarded a contract to this contractor?
I said the contractor will tell them that day. The contractor will tell them something that day, so don't worry.
Well, President Akufo-Addo is urging contractors working on various road projects in the country to return to site and resume work, assuring that they will be paid all outstanding monies owed them. Speaking at a sword-cutting ceremony for work to start on the Beche-Vilamte interchange project, the president stated that 2.2 billion cedis has been set aside to pay contractors who show proof of work. The indebtedness to the sector has affected the cash flow of some of the contractors, and despite several assurances of payment, the money has yet to hit their accounts. The president, however, says the debts will be paid.
The Ministry of Finance has released 2.2 billion Ghana cedis to the Ministry of Roads and Highways for payment for works done by road contractors across the country. This will improve the cash flow of our contractors and ensure that those who have left their construction sites return to complete their projects. I'm directing the Ministry of Roads and Highways to monitor closely the performance of every contractor engaged by government, and I've instructed the ministry not to hesitate to terminate the contracts of non-performing contractors. In conclusion, ladies and gentlemen, I appeal to all those whose properties might be affected by the various projects to cooperate with the Ministry of Roads and Highways and other relevant state institutions in accessing the compensation due them. We shall ensure that fair and adequate compensation is promptly paid to all persons for such properties. These projects represent an exciting phase in the infrastructural development of our country. We are on the cusp of a bold new beginning, and I urge all Ghanaians to join hands with government as we strive to bring progress and prosperity to all parts of our country.
Now, members of parliament of the governing New Patriotic Party have rejected a proposal by the party to hold primaries to elect parliamentary candidates for the 2020 polls in January next year. Instead, the primaries will be held in April or on April 25. The National Executive Committee also agreed that parliamentary aspirants will contribute 30,000 cedis to the constituency fund used to support the party's operations. Joining us is Kwesi Parker-Wilson, has been speaking with Party Chairman Freddie Blay and General Secretary John Boadu.
This is progress. We are poised to work for Ghana. No, we are work to make this country strong and prosperous. And we think so far, so good.
But there's been a lot of talk about, protecting the members of parliament, the seat of members of parliament. Did that come up, and what's been the position of the party?
We've not specifically talked about protecting a member of parliament, but definitely we need to have a presence in parliament. We love experience and those who have institutional memory to be there. Right. But we have a constitution to uphold, and we can't go contrary to our constitution. But I would definitely love to have, I'm talking for myself, and the party...
How would the party consider that, sir?
And the party considers that...
there were key members of parliament that the party is seeking to protect?
The party has not indicated that there is any individual they are seeking particularly to protect. But it's been a policy that we are interested in ensuring that as many as possible certain members of parliament who are good, who have been working hard for the party, should return to parliament. That, I think, is the cornerstone of our policy towards...
Irrespective of the cost and the anguish
which cost?
And the acrimony that would generate...
That date is set for us to hold the primaries. The National Council also took a decision that until nominations for these primaries are open, members of our party must be cautious and not do anything that goes contrary to the rules and regulations of the party. And the rules and regulation is that until nomination is open, no member of our party is expected to start campaigning. And that's the regional party and the national party will monitor the process and make sure that anybody that flouts that rule means that they don't want to stand on our tickets. it is loud and clear.
Including
the other issue that is equally important to you as the media is that National Council has also taken a decision that our presidential primaries, first of all, the dates for holding presidential primaries has been extended beyond the January 7th. And the date to hold our presidential primaries will be April 25th, 2020, the same day that we are going to hold our parliamentary primaries.
And do I get the sense that the president will be acclaimed on the 25th of April?
Until we open nomination, nobody knows what will happen.
So for now, it's open to all.
For now, we'll open nomination, give period for opening nomination, and close. It is until we close that we will know whether it is one person or two or three or four.
We're taking a break here on Joy News Prime to bring you business. And coming up in business, local beverage manufacturing company Casapreco laments closure of Nigeria's border with Benin, saying it has lost nearly $2 million in the last 2 months. And then menstrual hygiene advocates push for the adoption of reusable pads, sanitary pads, as a sustainable means of curbing period poverty in deprived communities. Stay tuned in, we'll be back in a minute. Now, the lack of sanitary towels, which often are beyond the means of most families of girls in rural communities, coupled with the stigma attached to menstruation, is often blamed for absenteeism amongst school-going adolescent girls. Menstrual health advocates, however, believe when girls are taught how to produce reusable pads as part of their school vocation work, they would be in a better position to manage their periods in dignity and therefore not have to skip school. Upper West Region correspondent Rafiq Salam reports on a menstrual hygiene campaign in some deprived communities in the country, which saw over 1,000 girls receiving free sanitary towels and training on surviving period poverty.
For early detection of breast cancer at a session attended by the traditional rulers from New Orleans.
If you see that there is any swelling or something has come inside, a lump or a bump, you have to tell your mother. If there is any change around the skin, or maybe your nipple is discharging some fluid, it can be blood, it can be greenish, it can be whitish, it can be creamish, all those things, you have to tell your mother.
GFF founder Sophia Champong taught the girls how to track their periods, manage painful periods, the various tools used to manage periods, including menstrual cups, tampons, and the proper use of disposable pads, as well as reusable pads.
So today we're giving you 3 ways that you can help manage your pain. 1 is by painkillers, 2 is exercises, and 3 is the hot water bottle.
Joy News anchor and news editor Israel Lai, a UNICEF menstrual hygiene management champion himself, urged the girls not to allow their periods to keep them away from the classroom, as the challenges associated with it could be easily overcome.
You can be anything at all you want to be. So if you can beat the boys now, as you beat them in class, and be better than them, you can be better than them at any point in life. We are all created equally. You have the same amount of brain. God didn't give the boy big brain and the girl small brain. No. You have the same amount of brain power to exercise it and become whoever you want to be.
His wife, Louisa Lai, a chartered accountant and banker, also urged the girls to know their cycle and adequately prepare for them.
You keep your calendar, okay, so that you're not in class and then suddenly you're menstruating and then teacher calls you and you can't get up. So you keep your calendar. The doctor mentioned that some menstruate every 21 days, which is perfectly normal. Some menstruate every 25 days, every 28 days, okay? So you keep your calendar and you pay attention to your body. You know your body, you learn your body and you know your body so that you're always takes you by surprise, okay?
The girls were then given packs which contained disposable sanitary towels and deodorants. A similar workshop which brought together 300 girls and women was held at the War Library. It was heavily supported by the National Youth Authority in the Upper West region as well as the Network for Young Women Empowerment. Israel Lai, after the War Library workshop, said easy to produce reusable sanitary pads could be a more sustainable way to end the phenomenon of period poverty, especially in deprived communities in Ghana.
They can't actually afford the pads. Can they afford 10 cedis every month? It becomes a lot more expensive. So if we can have these reusable sanitary towels being manufactured by themselves and teaching others to also do it, it means that we're managing their menstruations a lot better and they're taking care of themselves a lot better. They feel a part of school. They don't have to skip classes when they're going through their periods. And so yes, let's encourage them. And I like the initiative taken up by Girls Flow Free, and I expect that other people, it's not so difficult to manufacture or fabricate the reusable parts.
The GFF founder talked about her inspiration for starting the initiative.
I thought it would be wise to come back and then give back to what has made us, the Board of Trustees and myself, who we are, because we also know that girls here in the Upper West and in Ghana in general are experiencing period poverty. So it's one of the motivating factors to provide this education and menstrual products to help girls stay in school and then also to achieve their...
Students of various technical universities across the country are deserting their campus as the strike action by the Technical Universities Association and the Technical Universities Administrators of Ghana begins to bite. TUTAG declared a sit-down strike on October 7 over poor conditions of service following the conversion of polytechnics to technical universities. With academic work grinding to a halt for nearly 3 weeks on all the campuses, students have been left with very little or no options. We have been engaging students of both the Accra and Kumasi technical universities.
There is much stress on us for us to complete the course outline they've given us, so it's really affecting us with our studies because we have in mind that we were able to complete the topics or the course outline this semester, but then because of the strike we are having some delays.
I don't know what they are demanding, and all of a sudden they declared a strike, and then for some time, my class, some of the lectures were not coming. So we just come and then sit in the classroom all day without doing anything. So if you don't go to the library to study on your own, it means your day will be waste. I've come to school today, but there's nothing to do here on campus.
From the semester, from the beginning of the semester and the academic year, things have been put in place. Timetables have been set for weeks, for a number of weeks, for midterms, for exams. And this strike action is taking some of the weeks out. And as we speak now, some of the lecturers have delivered their questions to NAPTEX already for us to write. And if they don't follow the number of weeks they've given to us, and for them to teach us, they are not going to complete the course outline. They are not going to complete what they are supposed to teach us before they set the question. And this is going to go against us, not the lecturers.
We were just there, and then they told us that we have a strike. So we thought it was a joke.
But the following day we came to class, but no lecture for us. Now we found out from our class captain, they said that it is true that we have a strike. And then from my own experience, I've listened to radio and they said that all technical universities, not only our school, but they say all technical universities have come together and they collaborated to have 1 month so that they call for a strike, which is an indefinite strike. So for me, as I heard that it's an indefinite strike, I was very sad, very, very sad to hear that it is an indefinite strike. Because we don't even know the day or when they will come back to help us. And you know, as a student, you need to learn on your own. But if you didn't get an assistant like a lecturer to help you, sometimes you will not understand.
Some of us too, we are still on compose, but due to that, learning and studying on compose became very, very, very poor. Because some of us who are still on compose, we also assume that we are still wasting our resources. That is money. Because whilst we are still on compose, even though we learn, but still, we don't know what actually we are doing because lecturers are not ready to come back to classroom to come and teach. And due to that, due to the timetable we are having, we're supposed to start with MISEC today. This is 21st of October 2019. But because of that, we don't know when actually we will have the MISEC before we will go for our exam.
Latest twist to this is administrators, registrars, clerks, and other non-teaching professionals have joined in. President Akufo-Addo has blamed weak and unresponsive leadership for the slow pace of integration among ECOWAS member states. This comes on the back of closure of all entry borders to Nigeria in clear violation of ECOWAS protocol on free movement of goods and people. Addressing an ongoing conference on the ECOWAS Court of Justice, President Akufo-Addo said the region can make the bold and transforming changes required if leaders fail to show the political will required to deepen economic integration.
Here in West Africa, since 1975, we've had the Economic Community of West African States, ECOWAS to us Anglophones, CDAO to the Francophones. The principal reason for its creation was to enhance interregional commerce and cooperation. There was a clear recognition that the countries of West Africa would be a more effective economic bloc and have a stronger political voice if they came together. Subsequently, provision was also made for solving interstate conflicts as well as grave intrastate ones too. Today, however, while the EU is central to the lives of Europeans, ECOWAS is still somewhat peripheral to the lives of most West Africans. And it is not for the lack of plans or even rules and regulations. It is simply that the political will to make integration real has been less evident than in Europe. Our problem over the years, I suggest, has been leadership. The implementation of plans to bring progress and prosperity to the 350 million citizens of ECOWAS has been left to well-meaning technocrats and bureaucrats. However well-meaning they may be, our region cannot make the bold, transforming changes it needs to make without visionary political leadership. We need leadership that is focused on the region and not on individual countries. The European Union took off because the political leadership of France and Germany decided to make it work. Once the political will is evident, we can then work together to make ECOWAS a true regional community. Indeed.
Speaking on the sidelines of the same event, a leading member of the ECOWAS Court of Justice, Dr. Chidi Aselm Odinkalu, lashed out on Nigeria, describing the recent border closure as irresponsible. He said the border closure might hinder the implementation of the free trade movement within the region.
There are rules for doing the kind of thing that Nigeria has done. If Nigeria chooses to do this, it's got to notify the sub-region, or it's got to derogate formally from the treaty, or it's got to denounce the treaty. Those are the three things. One, there's a notification requirement. Two, there's a if you don't do that, there is a derogation imperative that you can exercise. So you choose to derogate from the treaty and you notify ECOWAS formally as a legal instrument. Or 3, you can decide, you know what, I am denouncing the ECOWAS treaty formally, either for a while or for all time. Nigeria has not done any of those things. What is simply done is to blockade its neighbors in the sub-region. And as I said, because Nigeria is so big in the sub-region, people are careful to make sure they don't hurt it, they don't quarrel with it, they don't pick a fight with it. That is meaning that the countries of the sub-region are very careful, they're afraid of engaging Nigeria and telling it has violated the sub-obligation.
Taking a break will bring you more business.